So Mogul Mowgli is directed by Bassam Tariq. It stars Riz Ahmed, who's also co-produced and co-written the movie. We're going to review it today on Boys on Film. And I'm once again delighted to welcome my review partner, who is Raj Rudolph. I've only called you Riz then, getting carried away with Riz Ahmed. I'm a massive fan of his. Do you rate him as an actor? Have you seen him in much stuff?
I really didn't know who he was, to be honest. I had no clue, but I did a little bit of research. Apparently he's won an Emmy already, so quite established. So I was really impressed with his role in this movie. I thought it was very gripping, you know.
Yeah.
For me as a newcomer to his work, I was quite drawn in.
He's an amazing actor. In fact, he's multi-talented because he is a rap artist as well. This film features him as a rap artist. But have you not seen Nightcrawler? Because he's in Nightcrawler, the movie, which came out a few years ago.
Oh, no, I didn't realise that he was in that. So.
And he's also in The Night Of, which is a fantastic crime drama series. He plays a student that gets arrested for a crime, for a murder. That was on, I think, a few years ago on HBO. You really need to check out that series because it's so compelling.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch Nightcrawler again because it's one of my favorite films. Like, I own it on Blu-ray, 4K digital, and I've been meaning to watch it again. So now even more of a reason to.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Mogul Mowgli. We could talk for hours about it because there's so many important issues, I think, in this film. What did you make of it, though, overall? Well,
I really enjoy any film that explores other cultures and the nuances within those cultures, and you've got this character. He's a successful rapper about to get his big break, going on tour with a big artist, and something pretty traumatic just happens out of the blue, and he's part of an Indian family, and they have their opinions about what he does, and then it's kind of like reconciling his world that he's created in the rap world with his family, and how they have to come together through tragedy and what's involved in that. So it's a very, very wonderful film. I loved it. I want to watch it again. I just loved everything about it. I can't fault anything about this film, especially the performances here. Yeah,
it's a film of struggles, isn't it, in many ways, because he's dealing with racial tensions in the UK. He's got a health condition which he's struggling to come to terms with. He's got insecurities with his work too, because he's got this kind of competitor rap artist, one of his contemporaries who he doesn't like. He doesn't rate him. He doesn't rate his lyrics. He himself is a really good rap artist. He's such a clever lyricist too. I mean, it is actually his real work, I think, in this movie, Riz Ahmed. So it kind of overlaps, and because he's co-written it, I'm guessing that a lot of the subjects in this film, are subjects that he's dealt with in his real life too.
The scene when the other rapper, I think is called RGB or something, comes and visits him at the hospital. And you could tell, like, look on his face, like, why is this guy here? I despise him. He's taking my gig, and all those feelings that you would feel when, like, your mortal enemy gets an opportunity that you are meant to get because of circumstance. But I found, like, what the rapper was saying to him, like, you're one of my favorite artists. Me doing this, going on tour is like almost you're there. We can live on to the, your work will, live on my journey. And, that could have gone all sorts of ways of wrong, but I was like really moved by that scene. Because it felt real. It didn't feel like, mate, I stole your gig.
I was just going to say exactly the same thing, because it felt very real to me as well. And I think that's really important for this kind of film, particularly the shots that were shot in the club where he's performing. It starts off in that club and it's full of people, and these people are reacting in a really genuine way. They're not it's not a stagey thing. They're not performing for the cameras. It feels like a real performance. Maybe it was a real performance.
Yeah, and anything to do with the music industry too. There's lots of little references and talk about how things happen in the industry. Like, as someone who manages artists myself, I was really fascinated with his manager character and watching that whole thing play out. So
we mentioned the reality of it. On the flip side of that, it feels very surreal. There are certain scenes that do feel like a dream, like a nightmarish scenario, because obviously he's got all these problems that he's trying to deal with. One scene that really leapt out at me was the scene with his father, and I can't go into too much detail because it's quite, towards the end of the film. But what did you think of these scenes? Because these scenes, to me, felt very intense and very, very nightmarish, like I say. And I think that's a really strong point of this film. I think they were done brilliantly. I think the direction was superb, because a lot of the time I was thinking, I'm not quite understanding what's going on, but maybe that was the point. Maybe I shouldn't have been able to comprehend what was going on, because to him it was exactly the same, I'd imagine.
Yeah, everything you just said, but it didn't go too dark. It didn't really take you to a place where you felt like sick inside. It kind of like unfolded the layers of complexity and darkness quite well, and that's what makes this film captivated. So I'm excited to see what everyone else's reaction is to it. And after watching this film, I can't stop singing in my head, "Pussy Fried Chicken."
I know. When you watch it, you'll understand what she's talking about.
It's stuck in my head like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, the performances I thought were brilliant. Like I say, Riz Ahmed, I just rate him as an actor so much. And like I say, he's multi-talented as well, so he's bringing a lot of his other talents to this, and he's a filmmaker too, so I think he understands the director's viewpoint on this as well. But I just think he's phenomenal in this. I believed his performance completely, and also the interaction with his family, because with that cultural heritage thing going on as well, you see the family being split and fractioning, and I think that's a really important part of this film too, because the family aspect of this, I think, is really strong. But when you see the family being split because of all these pressures.
And you mentioned his insecurities too. He has lots of insecurity around, like, his, I guess you could say, his girlfriend, or the woman that he spends a lot of time with, but he never
that's heartbreaking
on the road.
Line, isn't it?
Yeah, that was really like straight to the heart. Like, kind of gut wrenching, really.
Yeah, so. Definitely. Well, I think overall, I have to say it's a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's not to everybody's taste, because I think it is quite an intense film, but I think it's definitely a film that everyone should see. Yeah,
the cinematography was. Could have been improved a lot. I think it feels very indie and a little low budget, but for that reason alone, that's why it's an 8 out of 10 for me.
To be honest, I think that's why one of the reasons why I enjoyed it, because it felt more gritty, it felt more real.
Yeah, I like things a little bit more polished.
A bit more polished. See, I'm all for less polish. I want to keep it gritty. Want to keep it real.
My film how my feelings about slice of life.
yeah, and I'm all for that.
Maybe I just like pretty things, Phil.
I can't say anything more to that. Can't add anything. But it's Mogul Mowgli. It is part of the BFI London Film Festival for 2020. We're covering a lot of this festival. Like we said in the intro, there are so many films that we're wanting to see this year, and we've seen 2 already. So onwards and upwards. So many great films to check out this year. We've got a preview which you should check, which is linked above. What other films are you looking forward to seeing? Are there any that spring to mind?
Yeah, so there's Shirley, which I haven't seen yet. I know you saw a preview of it before, so I'm excited about Shirley. There's also another film festival happening simultaneously, Iris Prize Festival.
Yeah.
So it's completely free online, happens simultaneously. So there's The Prince I'm looking forward to seeing. There's like 4 films from that film festival. In terms of BFI, I'm really looking forward to seeing a preview of Stray. And then, is it Siberia?
Yeah.
With William Dafoe, and Kajillionaire is getting a ton of positive press. So I think that might be the breakout hit of BFI this year.
It's really exciting, isn't it? And we mentioned before the importance of the BFI too, because this is a venue that normally brings people in all the time, and it's a really busy place, and they always deliver at the BFI. But obviously, because of the pandemic, they're doing things differently, and they have done things brilliantly this year. I can't fault them at all.
And in the middle of watching film festival films, I'm trying to catch up on my Netflix list.
Oh.
So I think I'm going to watch The Boys in the Band tonight.
Yeah, that's on my list as well. So many great things to see. And you've just finished Ratched, which I finished a few days ago.
Last night.
So good, isn't it? Sarah Paulson.
It was a lot better than I was expecting, because a lot of the film bloggers that I follow didn't really rate it very high. But I was actually like, if I could stay up till 5 a.m. watching those episodes, I would.
It's really addictive. And I don't think Ryan Murphy gets everything right. I wasn't a big fan of The Politician. American Horror Story, the 1984 series, I didn't love that either. So I don't think he's always on point, but he doesn't always get it right.
His work with Sarah Paulson, just everything they do together is great. And how great was Sharon Stone and Cynthia Nixon in this?
I didn't recognise Sharon Stone at all, and then I saw her name in the credits. I was like, where is she in this? And then I realised who she was. I couldn't believe it. She's brilliant. And like you say, Cynthia Nixon is superb in this as well.
I mean, I don't think we've seen Cynthia in a long time, because she was trying to run for New York governor, I believe.
And she's bringing up a family as well, wasn't she? As well, yeah. I think she disappeared for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, what a great way to come back! Like, and I love that the women in this Ratched were a bit older too, and they didn't try to like gloss them over. Like, they were like wrinkles and all, give them more wrinkles, So
yeah, Julie Davis was brilliant in this.
Yeah,
as the head nurse.
Yeah, and I can watch Finn Wittek all day playing psychopath characters.
And it's always a warm welcome to Sean Vickers from Unflop. Good to see you again, Sean.
Hi, everyone.
So, Mogul Mowgli, your thoughts, Sean, on this? Are you a fan of Riz Ahmed, like me?
I am a fan of Riz Ahmed. I loved him in The Road to Guantanamo, and I loved him in The Reluctant Fundamentalist. Sidebar, there's a fantastic book called The Good Immigrant, and Riz Ahmed writes an essay in The Good Immigrant it's called Airports and Auditions, and it's fantastic. And, when I read that, he really cemented himself as someone that I have a lot of respect and time for as an actor and as a rapper.
Well, I was going to say, because he's multi-talented. I mean, he's a filmmaker too. It's incredible. He's a musician. I mean, there's no end to his talents.
He's phenomenal. I think he's a real asset to British film. He's a fantastic actor. I thought this was very powerful, an amazing movie about, for me, identity. Pakistani rapper from the UK, living in New York, on the cusp of making it, on the cusp of about to undertake his world tour, and then hit down by an autoimmune disease, and the story that prevails where he has to return back to London to his family. I thought it was incredibly powerful. I know the way it's filmed at times can be a bit jarring for some, but I enjoyed it. I thought it gave it an edge, and I thought it gave it some life. I thought it was a really important piece. I mean, it talks to the intersection of religion and culture and identity and people's own passions and desires.
And insecurities.
Of course, you think about British culture, you think about how, being British-Pakistani and what that means, and people having to lean into both sides of that kind of, at times, very complex story, and then moving to the US and then layering, it's like a layer cake of like an entirely different story. And so Zed coming back to the UK, almost kind of like with a different mindset and a different view to his peers, to his family, who you broadly get the sense that are not happy that he's taken this career in music, I think is really, really quite powerful.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned the coming back home thing, because I know in real life Riz Ahmed has commented on the fact that this country has let him down in many ways, as it's let so many people down in this country. But he's co-produced this, he's co-written this movie too. So I'm guessing there are a lot of elements of his real life in this.
Quite claustrophobic, actually. He has these moments where, as he's working through or dealing with his illness, his subconscious, you get this element sense of his subconscious, also dealing with the fact that he's back home and dealing with being in a construct that he's kind of stepped away from. And I think deliberately. And so you have these bonkers flashbacks or these bonkers bits of surrealism that suddenly interweave into the plot line, which I enjoyed. I think there's a debate about how that works, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it added the texture to the film that I think if you were to remove him, it would be a lesser film. So I thought it was great and it was powerful.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well because it intrigued me.
Yeah, I thought it was really powerful. Hats off to Riz Ahmed for what he's done here, because I think it's phenomenal. And I think it's very current, and I think it's very urgent, because I think there's a lot of talk at the moment about what it means to be British, what it means for your culture. Do you abandon your culture? And that's maybe been a story that's been in the past, but embracing your culture, knowing who you are, and layering in your passions and desires is complicated. And I think that comes across well in the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that reason, I think it's a very thought-provoking film as well. Hopefully it's going to generate a lot of speech and a lot of discussion.
I believe so. And I hope so, really, because it is, as I say, it's important that we're having these conversations about, for him, what it means to be British, and as you say, feeling let down by the United Kingdom in a way, and that does come to also, I think, in his essay that he wrote. But yeah, very important, and I think timely where we're at as a country. Okay, I'm going to give it an 8. But it's a strong 8 for me. I'm not that I'm not a generous with you, Phil. Not today, anyway. But 8, definitely a strong 8, and it would be a film that I would definitely watch again.
You surprise me, Sean Vickers. You surprise me every time.
Can't believe it.
It's always good to see you. I'm looking forward to what we're going to be reviewing next, because there are so many great films in this festival. It's a good one, isn't it, this year?
It's really fantastic. Very excited about the lineup. I'm sure you'll be seeing me again.
Oh, I hope so. Well, I know that's a dead cert. What am I talking about? I hope so. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
See you, Phil.
Thanks for watching, everyone.